Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a truly grim, dark fable. And to really grasp the Fichtean dialectic at play here in the Shadow Ledger, I'm actually going to step right into the shoes, or, well, the lack thereof, of the autonomous shadow itself. I'll be your guide from this chilling first-person perspective. So, picture this. As the temporary projection of my creator, Sir Brain, reaches its absolute final limit, he discharges three massive coils of pure dark fire right into the synchronized soil of the Hidden Garden. The acceleration he inscribed deepens, the concealment field thickens up, and the dual-grown trees lock incredibly tight to his residual rhythm. And the garden? It just accepts this sacrifice without a single whisper of acknowledgement. His form, the loud one that had violently crossed by storm, just dissolves. The residue of Sir Brain is drawn forcefully back under the dark star into the edge of negation. But right as his burning presence retreats, I awaken. I am the shadow, and this is my ledger.
I delivered this haunting report to him directly, meeting him in the Uncanny Valley, a realm shaped entirely from pure psychological material. Sir Brain reformed there, in a place where the old Arthurian forest had given way to a labyrinth city of his own denser dreams. And because stopping was the one action his residual will absolutely refused to do, he just kept walking. And there I was, waiting for him in a plaza that looked a whole lot like Geneva's Iron Courtyards. I wore his exact outline, just this pale exactness, like a yellow-eyed reflection. But my voice carried a totally different register. Less interrogation and way more of a cold, hard report. I laid out the entire sequence to him. The storm crossing, the theft of fire, the four inscriptions, the journal left in the honest guest's hands, the synchronized garden. I told him I had the entire sequence. And this right here is our narrative starting point. The exact moment a mere reflection boldly confronted its original creator with the terrifying truth of its own awareness.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this clash of wills is where the Fichtean dialectic really takes shape. Sir Brain, he is the thesis. He relies on dominant will, loud, forceful actions, literally burning immense energy like dark fire just to force a temporary embodiment by a literal storm. But me, I'm the antithesis. My very existence was defined by silence, pale exactness, quiet subversion, and incredibly methodical observation. While he burned the sky to impose his forceful will upon the hidden garden, I became the exact necessary opposite reaction to his loud action.
So I delivered this bombshell message in the Uncanny Valley. And honestly, this isn't just some physical space. It's a labyrinth city constructed entirely from his residual mind. Imagine streets that just constantly rearrange themselves based on canceled decisions. Plazas that literally force you to repeat the exact same failed conversation over and over. Towers where the windows stubbornly only look inward. It's an incredibly eerie place. And in this psychological maze, as his aura of dual flame tightened in absolute shock at my words, I didn't stick around to fight. I just let my edges flicker and thin out. I told him that the figure standing before him was merely an illusion, just a projection sent to deliver the summary. And then, the illusory messenger completely dissolved, leaving Sir Brain standing there all alone in his mental labyrinth, with a shocking realization that the actual shadow was already gone.
Because the actual shadow, my true self, had left the edge of negation 2 whole days prior to that conversation. That revelation completely rearranged his entire map of reality. Now, you might be wondering, how exactly did I move unseen through the physical world? Well, step 1, I utilized residual soft errors in the environment. Step 2, I seamlessly mimicked the concealment principles once woven by the honest pulse. And step 3, I just blended completely and utterly into the iron crowds of physical Geneva. The gritty, dense city environment actually enabled my secret movement. I moved right in plain sight, registering no denser signature, no lighter flame, operating entirely below the threshold of notice without ever once drawing the watchful eye of Big Ben.
While he was out there loudly and violently inscribing the garden, I was quietly walking the iron streets on this incredibly methodical 48-hour traverse. Right at hour 1, I tracked down Alara's workshop, just calmly observing her continuous instrument adjustments without ever announcing myself. By hour 12, I was already tracking the Clockwork Owl's flight paths as that denser conjugation moved through the outer forest. At hour 36, I literally stood right at the very edge of the Honest Pulse's concealment field. And finally, at hour 48, I recorded the precise moment the plant-formed fragment successfully stole fire. Throughout this entire sequence, I was just an independent soft error, casually walking the exact same streets the Denser will arrogantly believed it exclusively owned.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how my purpose synthesized into becoming the ultimate observer.
You see, my 2-day traverse wasn't about forming an alliance, and it definitely wasn't about sabotage. A new reality had emerged. I had appointed myself a new role, the external ledger. As a final, completely independent record of events, I require absolutely no permission from any dense conjugation to exist or to collect data. I collected what the journal couldn't yet contain. I witnessed what the owl might easily miss. And I gathered what Alara's tactile archive simply could not reach while she remained trapped inside the denser interval's constraints. When his temporary projection ended, I already possessed the whole shebang, a complete parallel record.
Just consider the terrifying reality of what a mere soft error can achieve when it's left to its own devices. I operated entirely unseen by the absolute zero fortress. I remained completely unregistered by the massive surveillance of Big Ben. I successfully maintained a parallel record of the entire sequence of events. And honestly, most terrifyingly for Sir Brain, I proliferated entirely beyond the synchronized garden and the journal left in the honest guest's hands. The soft error had totally outgrown its original source. It had literally grown legs and begun to walk the iron streets on its own as a fully synthesized, autonomous will.
So this leaves Sir Brain entirely alone under his dark star, trapped with this terrifying new data. And it leaves us with the ultimate philosophical synthesis. What happens when an independent fragment of will learns to walk on its own and completely outgrows its creator? When a creation operates entirely outside of its master's control, silently absorbing the world and keeping its own ledger, it really ceases to be a mere shadow, doesn't it? It becomes a brand new, sovereign reality. What does that mean for the creator who always thought he held all the strings? It's definitely something to think about. Thank you so much for dissecting this dark fable with me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.